I knew NYX was gonna be bad, but sometimes even I get shocked by just how unbelievably ridiculous these books have become. You have Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly writing this, and I'm telling you, this thing ain't gonna last, This thing ain't gonna last 10 issues with how ridiculously dotish it is. It's just another Ms. Marvel comic, and you know what that means. Nobody's interested in it. Literally nobody. You have female Wolverine in it. Let me just go through this so you could understand what's going on. The book literally starts off with Miss Marvel rushing to go somewhere, and she has, as she calls her power, embiggified herself. And this just looks really ridiculous. Her powers just never work no matter what you do. You know, I mean, the big hands, the big feet, the growing large, it just doesn't work. There are other heroes that grow large and something like that, but her thing is she makes herself large, plus she also stretches. It's just a weird thing, and they know what about and keep trying to act like it's supposed to be something. It doesn't work. You see her there leaping over buildings and all that with these always with these giant hands. Always with these giant hands. She's talking with her friend on the phone, and she's there about also sorry if it gets kinda hard to hear over the wind. I'm beginning my way to school. Yeah, because she's in college now, but I don't know, like Kamala Khan doesn't grow up or something like that, because I would have thought she'd have been in college long before now, but whatever, what you're gonna do. And the costume that she had when she basically became a mutant and was working with the X-Men kind of thing, because she doesn't have that costume anymore. She's back to her old costume now, because the old costume looks ridiculous, looks literally ridiculous. The new costume looks ridiculous, but what you're gonna do? So she's there and she goes out and ends up bumping into somebody. And who does she bump into? Sophie Cuckoo, one of the Cuckoo sisters and them, right? And if you don't know who the Cuckoo sisters are, there are about 4 or 5 of them, and yeah, 5 of them, right? 5 of them, and they're all telepaths, and they all have telepathic and telekinetic powers. You understand me? They're basically like a kind of hive mind, but Sophie is the youngest one, and she doesn't always join up with the rest of them, but they're all mutants, right? So yeah, so she bumps into her, and she uses her powers to just stop everything from falling, and then and she's all you're Sophie Cuckoo, and she's, am I? How can you tell? I do have 4 identical sisters. Oh, I'm a big fan, because she's a big fan of everything. They keep trying to act like Miss Marvel is the new Spider-Man who used to be so awestruck by everybody. Yeah. So picks her up and all of this stuff thing there and stuff, and she tells her how well, Sophie Cuckoo is a mutant, and she lets the world know that, but Miss Marvel is still in hiding. She still has her secret identity. And before she was an Inhuman, now she's an Inhuman / mutant, because ever since they did that thing with her on the MCU, now they have to make her a mutant. I don't even care, but I really and truly do not even care. So they go to class, and the professor, right, is Prodigy, who's also a mutant, but he's just like this brilliant mutant, and he has this class where he's talking about Krakoa and all this sort of stuff that happened and all kind of thing with it. And then Sophie is in there and is like, oh, what a load of, well, they blur it out, and she's talking about, is that really how it's going to be, Prodigy? You're going to write the gravestone before the body's cool? Or I'm sorry, it's David out here, right? That it's Professor Allen, and I'd appreciate you not swearing. And then she's youngest professor in the history of school, tenure track, even which is a wonderful handout. Do you think they did that because of your many academic qualifications, or so they could feel a little less guilty about the last mutant massacre. You're the one protecting the oppressor, no Professor Allen. Doesn't that bother you at all? Because the whole thing is that after what happened with Orchis, when they turn people against mutants again and then attack the mutants and all kind of stuff with it, it basically plays out like what happened in X-Men 97, when you literally had one guy, one person who coordinated the whole Sentinels to attack and kill all those mutants, and then Magneto decided, let me go and wage war on all humans rather than go after the one guy who did this. So they wipe out Orchis after all the mutants and thing, after all the X-Men turned into happy, gleeful killers, and now we're getting this nonsense. But so then after class and all of this nonsense now, Sophie Cuckoo decides she's going to take Kamala Khan out on a night on the town to enjoy themselves. So they go to this bar. Well, it's this club. I shouldn't say a bar, it's a club, right? And they need to get in there. And now, keep this part in mind very clearly, what I'm going to say. Yeah? Sophie literally uses her psychic powers to get the bouncer to let them in, right? She uses her psychic powers to get the bouncer to let them in. She can manipulate minds very easily, right? So they go in, and the bartender is a friend of hers, and they come in there, and she wants to get a drink, and he's the best bartender in town and all of this stuff and thing there, right? And then good and all of that, enjoy yourself, right? And then the nonsense starts, right? This guy comes there, hey freak, and the bartender say, come on, this is my job, man. Can we not do this? It's just a question, but and they're all like, who is the mutie terrorist? The building collapsed uptown, the fire by Columbia. It's happening every night. They aren't mistakes, it's mutants. And we all know it. Admit it. And this guy literally pulls out a giant knife. And we'll find out if lizards really can grow back limbs. How did this guy get into the club with a knife? With that giant, I don't even mean like some little switchblade, it's that giant freaking hunting knife. You understand me? He got into the club with it. How? I don't know. And literally wants to assault this bartender for just doing his job. That's it. So what happens now, rather than Sophie Cuckoo, who has telepathic abilities and just seconds ago used them on the bouncer to get inside, she could have very easily used those abilities on those two guys and just de-escalate the situation. She could have just made the guy put away his knife, apologize, and leave along with the other guy. Very easily she could do that, but no, she doesn't do that. You understand me? And she talk about, oh, they've got cameras out, secret identity, just stay cool. And what does Kamala Khan do? Literally pull her face up over. It is really, really ridiculous. This is what she does. I tell you, these really stupid stretching powers. Just pull them, and then it just basically leaves her with eyes, but no mouth or nose or anything. So I don't know how she hasn't stifled to death already, but whatever. And she just stretches out her arm and knocks the guy back. Why? There was no reason for any of this other than this is just another stupid Miss Marvel comic, and they need to keep having her doing stupid things. All Sophie had to do was just use her powers and de-escalate the situation, problem over. And meanwhile, the other guy is there streaming, and you are seeing it live, Truth Seekers, mutant violence right here in New York. Don't trust the lies. They're not immigrants. You literally were just there with that guy who wanted to cut this guy's arm off. And now they're really acting like, for some reason, they've been acting like, mutants are immigrants or something like that. everything everything now revolving around if you don't like mutants, you're some kind of racist. How is that making any sense? Mutants are humans. They are literally of different races and all kind of things. Some of them are green skin, blue, you name it. All of them are different ethnicities, all kind of things. The struggle always used to be mutants and humans. That's what people used to be saying all the time. But over the years, it got to the point where people were more like, that's a mutant. And it was kind of getting a little more tolerable, but not too much. Now it's just gone back to this full-on hysteria that they're just trying to push because for some reason they need to make this make sense. And she's out there, and Sophie suddenly decides to use her powers to take the guy's phone away, and Miss Marvel is just out there throwing punches. You understand me? Somebody uses a taser to shock her, and she's just punching people. And apparently, she ended up punching the bouncer, and he literally just threw her out. Threw out Kamala Khan and Sophie. And Sophie's there like, those guys were harassing your bartender, and one of them had a Bowie knife in a nightclub. And she's the one you're throwing out. She was trying to help. And the boss says, no mutants, new rule. And then she's what? An idiot and a racist. What a catch. Because all of a sudden, no, once you're a mutant and people don't love you, that's somehow racist. I don't know where this shit came from. I really don't think it makes no sense. Absolutely no sense. It makes none. And suddenly being a mutant and not loving mutants suddenly makes you racist. These people even know what racism is? Probably not, because they just use it for every freaking thing anyway. So yeah, after that, Sophie is there like, or they could go someplace else, but Kamala is all, no, she has work to do. She needs to go and get stuff done, so she turns back into Miss Marvel and uses her embiggening powers to stretch her hands and fly away. We get back to the professor who was there before, and of course, he's gay. He has a boyfriend and all of this nonsense and what's going on, because that's how things supposed to work. And they're sitting there having Chinese food and all kind of thing, because at this point, who isn't gay anymore? Somebody's who isn't gay anymore. And Kamala calls because she needs to get some help with something, but she kind of figures it out, and then the phone line goes dead. And who showed up and did that? Female Wolverine. Yes, because she's going to be in this also. This whole outfit and everything looks really stupid. Wolverine is Wolverine. This looks nonsensical. Destroying the phone and all of that, because Kamala took this phone off of one of the guys who was doing the whole Truth Seekers thing to get information off of it. But female Wolverine destroys the phone and then goes on to literally tell her this nonsense about how you're chasing ghosts, Miss Marvel. Go home before you get hurt. And I'm sorry, are you an Avenger? No, I'm an actual hero who looks out for the people who fall through the cracks and watches kids like you when you get too close. People are preying on mutants every day, and you're starting bar fights sitting in class while the real work goes down. You're not ready for this. For some reason, they believe that having Laura Kinyon with a name female Wolverine formerly X-23 with a better name sound like she's actually Wolverine and has been alive for well over 150 years. Somehow that's going to make her sound more relatable. It doesn't. That makes this whole thing sound very stupid. That's what it is. And then now Miss Marvel is all, I'm sorry, Wolverine's gonna lecture me about starting fights. Come on, the only thing I'm doing is trying to help our people, same as you. I just also have a family and school and even more school. And apparently, I have a new best friend and I spend all day trying to live up to their expectations of me, and I still have time to fight for what's right. Like, nobody cares about this argument. This whole Wolverine, she's not Wolverine, whatever. And being a mutant doesn't mean you don't get to have a life. And female Wolverine is mutants and humans after everything we've done. This city's about to explode. Get ready or get dead. This is not Wolverine, but trying to make X-23 so that when she was X-23, she was bearable because she was X-23. She had a personality and everything like that. But now you've literally turned her into just Wolverine with boobs, attempting to figure that if you just constantly keep saying that she is Wolverine, that's somehow going to stick. Doesn't work at all. Then all of a sudden, Miss Marvel goes, there's this explosion at a train station. She goes in there trying to help the people and all that. And then who does she run into? This guy who's there, and I'm the Krakoan. Because they can't seem to move on from the Krakoan era at all. They can't seem to move on. And apparently, this person doing one of these things really is a mutant and stuff, and tosses a train at her. So she ends up making her hand big and catches the train, puts it down, and then they're still streaming, and this guy comes with her and talk about any words of wisdom to get gene freaks who might step out of line, because apparently nobody knows that she's a mutant, which doesn't make any sense because, like I said before, she had her new X-Men uniform and pretty much everyone was kind of knowing that she was a mutant, but now they just kind of flip-flop on it for some reason. I don't know. She goes back and meets up with Sophie Cuckoo again, and they sit down to have lunch and dinner, and suddenly they're the bestest of friends and all of this there, because that's supposed to be interesting in some way. I don't know why. Then we get back to the big reveal of who the Krakoan actually is and what's going on. And it turns out that the Krakoan is formerly Hellion, right? We also have Empath, who's a mind controller, the worst guy in every room, and the Stepford Cuckoo's telepathic hive mind, Sophie's problematic sisters. So yeah, they're the ones behind all of this nonsense, all of this stuff. Hellion is the Krakoan, you understand me? Empath is the one there doing this madness, and plus you have the Stepford Cuckoos out there as well. This is the whole thing. This is a terrible, terrible book. This NYX started off ridiculous, and it doesn't shock anybody because this is the kind of crap that they keep doing. Nobody should be surprised by how bad this was. I mean, I was surprised by how bad because I knew it was going to be bad, but this is just nonsense. This is just another generic, boring, pathetic Miss Marvel book where you just throw in Sophie Cuckoo, female Wolverine, and a bunch of nonsense nobody cares about, and then act like, well, this is going to be the best thing ever. It's nonsense. Issue 1, NYX, total nonsense. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. If you have a different opinion, I'd love to hear it. If you like, give it, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell to be notified every time I put out a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.